What's going on, guys? In this one we're going to be doing another creamy garlic recipe, with this one being creamy garlic mushroom soup. It tastes absolutely incredible, it's super easy to make and all of the ingredients are easy to get. Please sit back, relax and enjoy. Alright guys, let's start this off with making a mushroom powder, which consists of 5 grams or 0.2 ounces of both dried porcini and dried shiitake mushrooms. Place them onto a baking tray and transfer to a preheated oven set at 150 degrees Celsius or 300 degrees Fahrenheit and roast for 5 minutes to enhance their flavour and ensure they're completely dry, then remove and let cool for a couple of minutes. Transfer the dried mushrooms to a spice grinder or mortar and pestle and grind these up into a fine powder to create a rich umami mushroom powder that's an amazing topping for so many ingredients, and you should have something that looks like this that can be placed into a bowl or airtight container and will last up to 6 months stored in a cool dark space. For the prep, completely peel and remove the tip and root from 2 large brown or yellow onions, saving the scraps for a stock, then slice these in half, slice in half again lengthways, rotate 90 degrees and dice into large even sized chunks. Next is 2 large all-rounder potatoes that have been washed and leave the peels on for added nutrition. Slice these in half the same as the onions, slice in half again lengthways, rotate 90 degrees and dice into large even-sized chunks. Here is 1 large leek, which is the only leek you ever want in your kitchen. Let's then slice this in half to make it easier to work with. Slice each half into quarters lengthways, then run these under cold water to wash out any dirt, as this is where all of it will be hiding. Once washed and dried, simply slice into nice thin strips, getting them as close to the same size as possible, just for that even cooking time. Of course we're going to need garlic, so with 6 cloves, lay them flat on the chopping board and place down the side of your knife with the blade facing down and away, then push down to crush, which will activate the allicin compound, then simply give these a rough chop that really doesn't need to be perfect at all. Last but not least, here is 750 grams or 1.6 pounds of button mushrooms, which I'm not going to show me slicing them all, but all that needs to be done is thinly slice them, trying to be as consistent as possible for even cooking times. Place a large pot over medium-high heat and add in 140 grams or 4.9 ounces of unsalted butter and allow it to melt. Add in the large diced brown or yellow onion along with the large diced all-rounder potatoes and a pinch of sea salt flakes, then mix to combine and sweat for 5 minutes, moving it regularly as sweating means to cook without colour, and to achieve that we must keep it moving. Next, add in the thinly sliced leek, as well as the crushed and roughly chopped garlic and those thinly sliced button mushrooms, and now saute for 10 minutes, giving it all a mix regularly, and during this time the vegetables, especially the mushrooms, will extract a lot of moisture that will mix with the butter and create a beautiful infusion for all of this to saute in. After 10 minutes you'll have something that looks like this, with all of the ingredients starting to break down. Turn the heat to high and then add in 2.5 tablespoons or 50 milliliters of white wine or vegetable stock if you can't consume alcohol, which will start deglazing the pot, pulling up any stuck flavours, and cook this for 2 minutes, mixing it regularly. Once that's done, pour in 1 litre or 4 cups of vegetable stock to create the foundation of our soup, along with 100 milliliters or 110 grams of thickened cream, which is also known as whipping or heavy cream, 2 tablespoons or 40 milliliters of full fat milk, sea salt flakes to taste, and of course cracked black pepper, with myself using 20 cracks worth. With this still over a high heat, give it a big mix for those flavours to become friends, then bring it to a boil, reduce the heat to low, give it another big mix, and let simmer for 10 minutes, which will be just the right amount of time to ensure that the potatoes are completely soft. 10 minutes later, give it yet another mix to keep the flavours working and moving, and then turn this off the heat. Now to blend this, you can use an immersion blender, a regular blender or food processor, but if you use a regular blender or food processor, you will need to wait for this to cool down for at least 45 minutes or so, otherwise you'll run the risk of the plastic bowl expanding, then exploding and causing serious damage to yourself, your equipment and your kitchen. Once blended, give it one last good mix and check it for seasoning, adjusting accordingly, then remove it from the stovetop. As for serving it up, carefully ladle the hot soup into bowls, with this recipe serving 6 depending on portion size, then with the diced mushroom powder we made earlier, sprinkle over a little to create a delicious umami kick, and along with that hit this up with a few cracks of black pepper, and to finish it off drizzle over some extra virgin truffle oil for an incredible rich flavour, or use plain extra virgin olive oil, leaving us with this beautiful, delicious and extremely fragrant creamy garlic mushroom soup. The only thing left to do is serve some toasted bread alongside the soup, using the bread as a soaking vessel. Then to make this all worthwhile, we can then dip in and dig in.